Welcome to InkThinks. So if you followed me for a while now, you might know that I am a huge Zelda nerd. The Legend of Zelda is something I grew up with, but more than that, it's shifted into one of my favorite franchises of all time. Between the sense of growth and adventure and the desire to make Hyrule my own, the series has firmly placed itself into my heart. But here's my honest opinion. The representation of Zelda in Super Smash Bros. Is awful. Despite a killer cast of interesting characters, the entire representation in Smash has been limited to Link, Link but a baby, Baby Link but cuter, Zelda, Zelda but a boy, and Ganondorf. You can do better, Nintendo, and let's see how. Here are my top 5 characters that I would want from The Legend of Zelda to appear in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Roll the intro. Alright, so you know how I started off by saying the issue is that every character in Zelda is a different form of Ganondorf, Zelda, or Link? Well, this number 5 slot goes to Ganon. Okay, yeah, I know that this is technically somewhat a form of Ganondorf, which is why it's number 5 on my list, but Ganon would play entirely differently and feel pretty unrelated, I think. For those of you who aren't in the know, Ganon is the reincarnation of the Demon King Demise, who we can see appearing in Skyward Sword. After pulling a Vandal Savage and cursing Zelda and Link to have their descendants permanently sought out by Demise's hate reincarnated, a Gerudo named Ganondorf was born. After, he chews some 5-gum and becomes this satanic swine, and then dons the name Ganon. Now, Ganon has always been portrayed a bit differently in each of his appearances, but to me his pig form is the most iconic. Little 11-year-old me was totally freaked out when we saw this dual-wielding beast pop up on screen. And although his swords are cool, we would also have to pay homage to Ganon's other weapons, namely his trident and his magic. Let's start off with his trident because this thing is seriously cool. It can blip in and out of existence, it can be thrown like a boomerang so fast that it leaves a trail of blue flames, and it can shoot out multiple balls of energy. As I mentioned before, Ganon also took the dual wielder feat and can create these twin swords upon his transformation. These things are seriously cool and seriously menacing. Apart from his swords, he also seems to have taken several Warlock 101 classes, as he's able to shoot out balls of dark energy and fire, teleport, and move in the form of a shadow, and lastly, send energy through the earth, freezing anyone who touches it when he lands from a jump. I would love to see a moveset revolve around Ganon's crazy mobility despite his size, but one that also weaves together his different offensive options into seamless combos. I think that Ganon is a no-brainer, and I would love to see him in the game. And before you say that he's too big, I would like to remind you that they fit Wario in the game, who according to game theory is freaking huge. Skyward Sword is honestly such a cool Zelda game, and I don't know why it's not talked about more often. It has incredible music, a cool flying system, Groose, and a cast of memorable characters. One of those characters who I think would be an awesome fit for Smash is the Demon Lord Girohim, who really got kind of the short end of the stick when he was getting his title. Demon Lord is basically the same thing as Demise's, but anyway, Girohim's personality alone is enough to set him apart. He's flamboyant, has a flair for the dramatic, and although he's usually calm and collected, not resting far below the surface is a sadistic psychopath who is full of rage. Girohim is incredibly gifted as a duelist. He's particularly gifted at defense and is able to stop blades with his mere fingers, and he's an ace with his sword and is able to hold his own against Link. But should his fingers and sword fail, he's able to harden his skin strong enough to withstand strikes from the Master Sword. Like Ganon, Girohim is also a skilled magician. He's able to materialize things in and out of the air, whether it be his sword, his diamond daggers, barriers, or even himself. He can also perform telekinesis, control the elements, and break magical barriers. I think that he should appear as the fastest swordsman in Smash, integrating his spells and incredible defense. I think maybe he could have a counter that forces the opponent to put their shields up and then he directly damages that. I think it would be a cool reference to him destroying the barriers in Skyward Sword. I also think it would be cool if his form shifted as he took more and more damage, increasing his power like Lucario and ending in his final diamond form around 100%. I think that Girohim would be a fabulous addition to the roster. Now, I've talked about this one a few times, but I haven't seen anyone else online talking about this idea in the same way, and I really love the idea. In a Smash presentation, the Smash team talked about how Breath of the Wild Zelda isn't fit for combat, and while that might be true, I don't think that means she shouldn't be a character. How should we go about this? Zelda would be a stand-in for the 4 champions to act as fighters. Zelda would wander aimlessly around the stage with her nose in a book or something, and each of your attacks would be one of the champions coming into battle to fight. For example, maybe your neutral B would be Zelda ducking to pick up a flower to study as Rivali shoots an arrow over her head. Or maybe your down special makes you fall asleep as Urbosa cracks lightning in a sphere around Zelda, waking her up. Rivali's Gale could be an up special, that one seems obvious, and Mipha and her trident could attack for several of the normals. But Zelda's final smash would be all her. She finally puts down her book and uses her sealing power from Breath of the Wild to decimate anyone who gets caught within. I think that this would be really fun to play as. Okay, so Zelda has one continuous canon that ties through a bunch of different stories, but did you know that Zelda has an official alternative canon? Existing in its own separate universe is the Hyrule Warriors timeline. My favorite from the series is Volga. This flame spear-wielding Dragon Knight would be a super unique addition to the roster, and although there may be more that we don't know about Volga than we do, Volga was the general of Sia's army, led against the forces of Hyrule. After a long and grueling war, he had a change of heart and fought for the forces of good. His name comes from Volvagia, a dragon from Ocarina of Time. That said, the Volga River is a real river in Russia, so I like to think that Volga has a really thick Russian accent. The main reason I want this guy should be pretty obvious. I mean, just look at him, he's so cool, and he's a spear user, which is something I've wanted in Smash for a long time, not to mention he can turn into a dragon. What isn't to like? For me, Volga is a no-brainer. Alright, before we get to the last fighter, I want to take a minute to tell you about today's sponsor. As always, I'm putting a timestamp to jump past this if you just want to see the video, but if you want to support me and my channel, then please hear me out. This week's video is brought to you by Audible. Now, last time I mentioned Master and Apprentice by Claudia Gray, which explores the story of Obi-Wan Kenobi and Qui-Gon before the prequel trilogy, and this week I have a similar recommendation in Dooku Jedi Lost. Now, this is a full audio drama, voiced by a full cast of characters, with sound effects, and it's so cool. It gives you an insight into Dooku's character that you might not ever get otherwise, and it really paints the character in a new light. And the good news is, if you sign up using my link in the description, you can get this and one other audiobook of your choice absolutely free. I think that it's a no-brainer, and these books are super cool, so check them out in the link below. Alright, time for my number one pick. Now, this isn't going to be any secret to anyone who knows me or my channel or saw last week's video or saw many of my other videos, but Impa is by far my most wanted character for Smash, more so than Waluigi, who's also up there in my list. She is the most recurring Zelda character outside of the Triforce wielders, and she is kicked butt as a warrior and as an old lady. She trained Sheik, and in the alternative universe of Hyrule Warriors, uses a Naginata to fight, which I think would be awesome to bring to Smash. In the main canon, she's stated to be at least on par with Girohim in terms of combat skills. She's been shown to use magic to create portals and conjure magical bombs. She has incredible agility and is likely skilled at Sheik and martial arts. I think that Impa would be one of the best things to come out of the DLC Fighters Pass. And there you go, those are my top 5 Zelda reps for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Fighter Pass 2. If you agree, please let me know with a like, and if you disagree with this list, please let me know with a comment. Please consider subscribing if you want more content like this, and if you want more Zelda in your life, check out this video where I pick Ganondorf against Mewtwo. Feel free to come talk to me in my Discord server if you want to discuss future videos or Nintendo, the link is in the description below. And until next time, stay smashing.